We're just gonna do one long take and I'll edit it out of there. Okay, so here's all the ingredients. This is called sheet gelatin. This is the kind that you want. It comes in these sheets. This is glucose or inverted sugar, but basically just use this glucose syrup. That's the best stuff. It's going to give you the best results. You're going to need a candy thermometer or something that goes up pretty high because we're going to be going up above 200. Some gloves, some parchment paper. I got some cornstarch if you need it. You're going to need some sugar, you need some water, and a scale. And you're also going to need citric acid. So for this one, I'm using 30 grams of gelatin to 70 grams of water. And we're going to be using 80 grams of sugar to 30 grams of water with another 5 grams of citric acid. And then we're going to use 100 grams of this glucose syrup. And I'm going to show you exactly what we do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to grind up this into somewhat of a powdery cut up pieces. We're going to do that in a food processor. It's gonna look something like this. It's a couple big chunks in there, but it's mostly like a kind of like a glitter, like big chunk glitter. So I got about 70 grams of water here, and we're gonna mix this together and let this set off to the side. Next step is to add our sugar, and then we're doing 30 grams of water. In this water, in a small pan, but just I think this will do. We're also going to add in our citric acid at the same time. So it's about 5 grams of citric acid. And we're going to get our syrup ready. And just like I said, it's pretty thick. About 100 grams there. It's 110. It's a little over, but I think that'll be okay because I had a little extra sugar in there, so the ratio should still be right. Basically, you can just multiply up this recipe and make as big as you want, but just keep this ratio and you'll be good. At the end, once everything cools down, we'll add our flavoring, and then we'll be able to pour it into our molds. So what I'm using here is the exact same thing that we would fill the carts with. And what I did is I took this same oil, this kind of stuff, right? You see how it's crystallizing in there? Those are all pure diamonds. And that's not what you want in your cart, and you really don't want that in your edibles either, because you want everything decarboxylated into just the oil version. And so that's what we did here. What I did is I set this at about 210 Fahrenheit. So once everything gets done like this for about a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours, you could even do it overnight, as long as it's not too hot. This can be used directly into your vape pens, or you can pour this directly into your edibles. Now let's see what I have here. Ooh, it's pretty hot. So it looks like we got about 5 grams in there right now. So we'll be able to calculate 5.7 is how much ended up there. And we're just gonna mix that right in. See if this is ready yet. Oh yeah, it looks pretty ready. This is what it turned into. Just right about like that. Yeah, it's not too much moisture. And it really melts right in there. That's cool. Now, one thing to remember is all these bubbles that are in there, they're gonna be in that final product. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this sit for a little bit or some heat, let it get good melted in there. We're not gonna stir it too much because that's gonna add more bubbles. And a lot of these are gonna raise to the top and we're just gonna skim those right off. You're gonna want to save all these bubbles you're scraping off here. You could technically just leave them in there. The gummy won't be as hard, it'll be a lot softer, and there's gonna be little air pockets in there. You don't really want a bunch of little air pockets in your edibles. So I recommend doing this step. But there's gonna be a little bit of hash oil in these bubbles, so you want to save this and you can make something else later and use it in something else, or eat it yourself, test it, or whatever. But this will give you a nice clear gummy in the end. And that's as much as I'm going to do for this one. And I'm going to get a pot of hot water going here. You should probably use a funnel, but I still have some bubbles on the side over there. I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. I mean, it's pretty liquidy. I might have wanted to wait, but yeah. Let's see if I can do it this way. Ooh, that was hot. Obviously, you don't want to be this messy when you do it, because it's going to be easier to get out if you can control your pour. nice good example of kind of what you want to do at home. We will let these sit on the counter for like 20 minutes. And after that, you can put them in the freezer, but you want to put them in the fridge overnight. They'll be pretty good, but they'll cure over the evening because this is gelatin, sugar. This is all going to make a nice little gummy. And these are good molds. I do like these. So right down here I have a mixture of cornstarch and sugar. You'll probably want something like this when you handle them later. You can mess with this blend as you want, but you don't need a ton of cornstarch or sugar, just enough to on these gloves and something to put that in and then take them off. So I'm gonna grab some out. I put some in the freezer so we can pull them out a little quickly. Normally you let these sit overnight. I'm just gonna pull some of these out like this. Now you can put a little cornstarch in your molds if you plan on using that later, which is probably recommended. That was only about 20 minutes. This came out very nice, like a lot easier than just melting the gummy bears. Easier consistency. I was actually able to pour these and get one nice gummy. Oh, pretty good.